The Eurofighter Typhoon should never have been added in 2024. It arrived with a glitched radar, an unfinished flight model that was swiftly changed several times after release, a bugged HUD that doesn't pick up enemy contacts, and an improperly modeled power curve. The flagship aircraft, and final addition to the game in 2024, has become an icon for Gaijin's greed and incompetent management decisions. The Euro canards are as huge a sensation in Europe as the Flanker in Russia and the F-15 Eagle in America. It's my opinion that Gaijin should have waited to give them the proper polish that these planes deserve. I don't blame the programmers for this. In a game with as much spaghetti code as War Thunder, implementing any kind of new feature probably involves a good deal of praying to the snail so that the servers don't come crashing down. Rather, management hurried to get this update out by Christmas, and this is the result. After the last video I made about the bugs within War Thunder's rushed update storm warning, people flooded my comment section with reports on the various other bugs that I had missed. I have also been told that making games is quite difficult, and I agree. It's not easy to root out a bug, especially one that doesn't show up all the time, or only happens under obscure conditions. With the literally thousands of vehicles in the game, Gaijin can't be blamed for a few glitches popping up here and there. However, we should have certain expectations for a studio that charges $80 to buy a pixel plane that will allow you to grind a single tech tree in a single nation. The dev server is the place where these issues should be rooted out. There's no reason why they couldn't have waited another 4 to 5 days to fix the obvious bugs, but they decided not to, and that is why this video exists. So without further ado, here are even more glitches and inaccuracies in the Christmas update. The Eurofighter Typhoon's TWS mode is next to useless. It can't maintain locks long enough to guide the missile into pitbull range in BVR, essentially meaning that the Typhoon has no data link and has to hardlock targets with PD mode for BVR shots. Rather than detecting real targets, it chases ghosts. This is a huge issue that limits its long-range effectiveness compared to the F-15E. A plane with a flight model to be a BVR king is currently limited by its radar, which is spec'd out to detect UFOs. Additionally to the HUD not detecting targets on the TWS, the Eurofighter's HMD is also broken in VR. It remains stationary instead of binding to the player's head movement, which defeats the point of having an HMD system in the first place. The Eurofighter's MAWS system will not reliably detect incoming missiles. I've been told that the Kavir C-10 should have a different cockpit, but the model we have in game appears consistent with what I've seen in promotional material for the aircraft. The F-4C's cockpit sight is broken. Its gun sight is missing the gyro that adjusts its position based on the g-force of the plane. The reticle has a very grainy texture, at least on my system, and while the CCIP is still functioning for guns and bombs, it flickers on and off like a very slowed down version of the F-4D's broken radar set. I didn't find the same issues on any of the other Phantoms. The Su-33 has a bugged visual model for its flaps. While ripping them impacts the flight model, the ailerons will rip off on the visual model while the flaps remain extended. I'm not sure how this made it to the live server given that whoever was testing the plane would have had to use the flaps at some point. User sights are broken for tanks, becoming misaligned when the player zooms in. Some players have issues with disappearing decals when switching to marketplace skins on Windows. As many of these issues are reported on Windows systems, and I personally played the game on Linux, I wasn't able to confirm all of these graphical problems. All this is not to mention whatever this is, where the ME262A1A resets itself to the default skin if you turn on the marketplace one. The default skin then becomes broken and overlays parts of the cockpit instrument textures on the wings. Moving the camera closer to the plane causes these visuals to disappear. While flying the A2D, I found a bug where I could see other players' contrails but not my own, despite my squad mates being able to see it. This bug could be annoying in top tier, where you want to skim below contrail altitude to avoid visual detection.
You have vapor trails. I'm higher than you and I don't. That's cool.
Some players are experiencing stretching issues on Windows, where textures blur and expand far longer than they have any right to. This is not a cockpit-only glitch, as I've also seen a report for this occurring in ground RB on an abandoned factory. It's been 3 years now, and the Swift F7 still has the wrong cockpit visual model. This bug is not new to this update, but with every update it gets more ridiculous that it has not been fixed. Gaijin has forgotten to change the progression requirements for Japan after adding the tie line. Players are only required to purchase one rank 7 vehicle to progress to rank 8, even after Gaijin changed the progression requirements of other nations. The Italian F-16A ADF could potentially carry AMRAAMs in real life, but Gaijin has chosen not to deploy them on the version we have in War Thunder. Similarly to the F5T SCU not having the extra Python 3s that it did in real life, it's clear they did this for balancing reasons, although it's a bit of a letdown for Italian mains. The add-on armor of the Tiger West deletes any decorations placed on it. The P-63C fires 2 rockets from the left side and 4 from the right when equipped with M8s and bombs, despite only having 3 on each side. This issue only occurs when you have a bomb equipped along with the rockets. I also tested the American P-63A-10, which has a correct rocket firing sequence, so it seems this problem is limited to the P-63C. Despite the fix to ticket bleed in ARB, where tickets no longer go down by themselves, I've occasionally caught the ticket bar going down on camera, with no players destroying any ground targets or AIs. This is fairly rare, but it does happen, so I suspect that there is some edge case where the death of a certain ground target or certain AI plane can still cause the tickets to bleed down. Certain maps are extremely broken where tickets begin bleeding down for no good reason and cannot be stopped. There are, somehow, a few highlights to this update, mostly the increase in BR sealing and the change to tickets within ARB, which is itself bugged, but hardly any of the additions were necessary. This update would have benefited from a reduction in the quantity of content and an increase in quality. Anyway, that's enough from me. I linked my sources in the description so you can read through the bug reports on Gaijin's community website, and I've also linked my Discord so you can join my small community. Have fun, and I'll catch you next time.